Hey, everybody, welcome into episode 12 of 100 Essential Jazz Standards. Really looking forward to this one. I haven't done one for a while. So let's get back into it and learn a new tune. This is one of my favorite jazz standards from 1924, T42. Hundreds and hundreds of recorded examples out there in the history of jazz. So this shouldn't be a hard one for you to find. And I do think it is one of those essential standards, both in the fact that you should know it if you want to be out there and playing with other people, other jazz musicians. And the harmony is essential. It's just a great tune to know how to play over, to know how to handle in terms of this kind of stuff carrying over to other jazz standards. The melody, wow, amazing. One of my favorite melodies, just so easy to pick up on by ear and learn. Of course, that's the only thing we don't present to you here is the melody. That's on you. You got to go out and learn it yourself. I suggest learning it off of some recordings, or at the very least, use the recordings first and then look at a lead sheet. So this is another one of those jazz standards that everybody plays a little bit differently depending on who you play with, where they learned it. The chord changes can be slightly different. So just know that. I'm going to present to you the way that I like to play it and the people that I like to play with play it, but there could be small changes. Everybody sort of adds their own little things to these tunes. Okay, so you know what we do here. We dive in, we analyze the chord changes, we talk about the form, and then as always, I've written an etude for you, and we'll check that out at the end. So let's dive into the analysis. All right, everybody, welcome into the analysis of this standard. So first thing to notice is that it's in the key of concert A flat major. We scroll down here, we see that we arrive in A flat at the very end of the tune. It's 32 measures, and the form is A, B, C, D. So we've got 4 8-bar sections that it is broken up into, and we'll talk about what all of them entail as we go through here. So let's start with the A. And it's actually pretty simple, right? So what do we have? This is all in the key of A flat. As notated by the Roman numerals just being in the kind of the plain old color. And it's pretty simple to follow. 2, 5, 2, 5, 1. Then we go to a dominant 4, which leads us down to our 3 chord. And then instead of going 3, 6, 2, 5, we do this kind of cool thing, which is we use a diminished passing chord to get to that 2 chord. So we've got 3, then we go down to our B diminished 7th chord, and that leads us to our 2 chord. And then we get to 5, 2, 5, 1. Okay? So pretty easy to follow. Let's hear it all together. 2, 5, 2, 5, 1, 4, 3, sharp 2 diminished, down to 2, 5, 2, 5, 1. Okay? All right, great. So let's go on to the B section. Now, this is where this tune gets really interesting because what it does, and you'll notice that it just uses the exact same progression Roman numeral wise, but it does it in the key of C instead of the key of A flat. So we modulate to the key of C. And this is a really interesting key because where do most tunes modulate? Most tunes modulate maybe to the 4 or maybe the relative minor, right? Those are like 2 really, really common things that we talked about a lot in this series. This tune modulates up a major 3rd. Super interesting and a really, really cool sound, but the chord progression is exactly the same. That's it. All right, so it's that 2 5 2 5 1 4 3 sharp 2 diminished 2 5 2 5 1. Now, when we hear both of them back to back, that's where it really starts to get interesting. Here comes the modulation. Isn't that nice? Love that. Such an interesting sound. And when you actually hear them in action, it's not that weird. You'd think modulating up a major third would be weird. Nope, it's not. All right, so what do we have right at the end of the B section? We just have a little 5 chord that's going to get us back into the key of A flat. And what you'll notice is that the rest of the tune is just in A flat. So no more modulations after this point. Now the C section is very, very, very similar to the A section. The only thing that is different is the last 2 bars. So we still get our 2, 5, 2, 5, 1, 4, 3, sharp 2 diminished, and then we still have our 2, 5, 2, 5. But now instead of going to 1, what we do is we play a 3 chord to a 6 chord. And that's going to lead us into our D section. If you notice, C minor 7 flat 5 to F7 flat 9 is like a secondary dominant relationship. It's a 2-5 leading us into our B flat minor 7 chord, which is the first chord of the D section. And now let's talk about the D section. So we play a 2 chord, then we move that up to a 3 chord, and then we go to a 6 chord, and then we go back to a 2 chord. Here's my favorite chord of the whole thing. We get a minor 4 chord. And that leads us beautifully back into the 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. And then we simply play a 3, 6 to get us back to the top. Okay? So let's hear the C section combined with the D section because they really work beautifully together. So here we go from C. Excuse my poor piano playing, but I think you get the idea. You hear it all going. Cool. So that is the analysis of the whole form. There's a lot of changes on this paper, but what you could see is that it's actually not that difficult. It's just a lot of 2 5s and 3 6s, but all of it's kind of in the same key. All right, let's move on to the etude. So there you have it, the analysis and the etude. Hopefully this can give you a little head start on learning this tune. You'll go into it understanding how the harmony works and at least being introduced to it first. And you'll have a melodic model in the form of that etude with which you can use to develop your own improvisational skills or your own melodic model of this. So a lot of people ask me where they can find the actual PDFs of this stuff. And this being the second set of tunes we're doing, episodes 1 through 10 are available in a package where you can download it all at the same time, the chord analyses and the etudes and the backing tracks and the demonstration tracks. I'll leave a link for that below. But if you can't wait for us to get to episode 20 before we compile another volume, we are going to have them available on our Patreon site, which is actually folded into my podcast, the 10-Minute Jazz Lesson Podcast. But I'll leave a link for that below too. And not only do you get every single thing we put out with the podcast, which is a new worksheet and new things to work on every single week, but you will also get the materials from these episodes waiting over there for you. And if you like this channel, if you like what I'm trying to do here, that's just a really great way to support this channel for not very much money at all. And you also get just like a ton of jazz education material simply for supporting the channel. So I get that question a lot too. How can I support you? That's the best way to do it. Follow that link to my Patreon below this video and sign up to become a supporter. That really keeps things going and it allows me to dedicate more of my time and energy to this while still being able to feed my family and buy the occasional box of saxophone reeds. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Really looking forward to the next episode of this. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments section below and stay well. Bye.